thank the Illinois State Genealogical Society for inviting me and all the volunteers and the officers. It's my second or third time speaking, so it's really a great privilege to be asked to come back. So that means that when you leave here, there's a high chance that you will be satisfied that you learned something. So, okay. So the classy PowerPoint presentation. Unfortunately, when I sent my syllabus information, I failed to send the second page. So you have one page of the documentation, but there should be a whole nother page like this. And that's my fault. So what I want you to do when you get a chance, when you get home, is drop me an email. And I'd like to send you a PDF of that page, okay? Because the information there is very good. And you're going to end up taking notes on stuff that you shouldn't have to now. But that's good. Repetition is a great way to teach. All right, let's get started here. First, I'd like to know, raise your hand if you have a computer. Okay, just checking. I'm not trying to be funny. Second, raise your hand if you have a flatbed scanner. Raise your hand if you have a flatbed scanner. Okay. Okay, it's everybody. Okay, excellent, excellent. Raise your hand if you have a digital camera that's, I'd say, 4 or 5 megapixels or greater. Raise your hand. Okay. How many of y'all have a tripod? Great. All right, we're going to be talking the same language. Pretty much. And if I do go over your head, like I said, just come back, talk to me and say, what did you say? Okay. So there's many ways to restore a document, okay? And it starts out usually scanning it with a flatbed scanner. That's that typical way of getting it done. The other way is to photograph it with a film or digital camera. Okay, and most of y'all have digital, so you're going to use a digital. The other way is downloading it from the internet, whether it's making a screenshot or actually right-clicking or saving as or whatever it would be. I always feel that teaching is a two-way street here, so is there another way that you've been able to restore a document or get a document into your computer that I didn't mention? Yes?
Scanning off microfilm.
Scanning the microfilm.
From microfilm.
Scanning, so you're taking the microfilm and sticking it in a scanner,
yeah,
and it scans.
Well, I don't know the technical term
okay.
device, but
okay.
the Family History Center.
There you go. That's one thing. And yes?
I recently started using some print to PDF software that is free.
Print to PDF software that is free? So tell me exactly how that works.
Instead of printing it, sending a document to the printer,
okay.
When you hit file print, it creates a PDF.
Oh, okay, yeah. Instead of printing it out with toner and ink, it makes a PDF which is searchable, I would guess, and
I think so. It
maybe
works really good if there's a website that those are hard to save. Yes.
Very good. And what about telepathy? You know, just no? That hasn't worked? Okay. Anything else? Okay. That's great. Now, when we're dealing with, this part is in your handout, but there are some details I might mention that aren't. But the flatbed scanner, being the most commonly used way to scan in documents, has great advantages. Number one, fast. Okay? Generally, it's fast. And it maintains a lot of fine details. Okay? Generally. Now, the disadvantages are when you have a document that is larger than the flatbed, okay? The other one is the quality of the scan can be unpredictable if the brand of the scanner or the scanner, I guess the age even of the scanner is not up to par. Okay, so if you have a low quality scanner, don't be surprised if you get low quality scans. Okay, so you gotta be dealing with good hardware. Some of that, when I mean low quality, I mean, you know, you just get absolutely cheap or free hand-me-downs. Usually those are the ones that are compromised. And these scanners do, as they age, they wear out. Some of my favorite brands in this regard are Epson and HP. And generally, if you get an Epson or HP, you can get it for sometimes $100, $200, $300 to get a decent one. Of course, the more expensive the scanner, I guarantee you the better quality you're going to have, the more options you're going to have. The other aspect or the other disadvantage is when you're scanning have you ever seen a document, let's say a marriage certificate, and it had gold paint or had some type of, even modern documents that we would find today might have something like a holographic seal on it or something like that. Did you ever try to scan those? It doesn't quite look like what it was in the original, okay? And people have been using all kinds of interesting inks, you know, for thousands of years. In the past 100 years with presses, I mean, you get reflective paints, you get all kinds of interesting paints, but their scanner will not be able to interpret that properly. So that's a disadvantage with a flatbed. Now, if I'm going to get a document, if I'm going to digitize a document with a camera, one advantage is the size. I can handle a large or oversized document that doesn't fit on the flatbed. I just have to photograph it, okay? If I'm at someone's house or I'm at some archive or some library and the document's there and they say, well, yeah, you can look at it, but you can't take it. Well, if you don't have a scanner with you, you obviously are going to have to get a digital camera to go ahead and photograph it. The disadvantages are a cheap camera will just not do the job. Okay, it might get a nice picture that looks this small, but when you need to reprint it, it may not be so pretty. You need to have a good understanding of the camera controls, lighting, handling the camera, such as using a tripod or standing against the wall holding your breath while you photograph it. And like I said, right here it says requires a steady footing, and finer details can be obscured. See, if I'm going to photograph a document, if this is the document and I'm going to photograph it from here or from there, there's going to be small details that it just really is not going to pick up, or at least not the way a flatbed scanner would pick up, because the lens, the glass, the bulb that's going to be helping record the data is going to basically be right on top of it. Okay, so some tips that I'd like to share to overcome some of these is when you are photographing a document, okay, if you can get it outside in subdued light or overcast light. Like today, the sun is out, the sunlight, the light is very harsh, it's creating harsh shadows. When you can see shadows on the ground, okay, that kind of light is too harsh to be photographing a document with. So if you could maybe move it to a shady spot or a semi-shade spot where there are no shadows, where there is no harsh light, you usually get more light than you would indoors, just because the sun is so powerful. You know, it's just this, God gave us a natural flash, you know. So you don't need a flash, you know. So use it, all right? Now, when you, if you're not able to take it outside, okay, if you're not able to take the document outside, and let's just say it is a big painting, and that just happens to be an ancestor of yours in the such and such library, such and such museum, and you're not satisfied with the print that they're selling, and they say, well, you can do a copy shot of it. Okay, well, when you set up your tripod, you set up your camera, you want to make sure that your flash or your lighting source is off to the side. Does anyone know why? Reflection. Boom, right there. Big white spot right in the face of the subject, okay? So if you can't do that, or you not satisfied with that, turn the flash off, keep your camera on a tripod, and do a slow exposure. Okay? It may be a 1 second exposure, a 2 second exposure. And generally, you're not going to be able to, unless you can get your heart to stop pumping and whatnot, you're just not going to be able to keep from moving when you're hand holding a camera. Okay, so if you don't have a tripod, you know, maybe you can find a box, maybe you can find some other chair or something you could stick the camera on just to do that copy shot. Those are some things. I use those all the time, those techniques that I'm sharing with you. Now, if you have access, does anyone have a medium format camera? 2 1/4 type negatives? No? Okay, forget it. I was going to say those are very nice negatives. You can get a lot of detail with those. And of course, there's large format cameras, which are flawless with detail. Next. Okay, so documents you download from the internet. Of course, one advantage is it's very fast, almost instant. And when you need something from someone in a place that's hard to get to, it's easy for them to fulfill your request. And if they do charge you for it, generally you just, hit the PayPal button or whatever it is they do to take your credit card number. The disadvantage is I call it low resolution roulette. Okay, and that is, well, what resolution is this document coming at? Does anyone here know what resolution is? That's like when you have two nations and they're arguing with each other and you get them to be at peace, right? No? Anyone know what resolution is?
Sharpness?
That's the result of good resolution is the pixels per inch. All right? Pixels per inch in an image. Now, you may hear people say DPI. That's PPI. DPI, PPI, same thing. Same thing. Okay? But PPI is the technically correct term. So, on the internet, generally when you see an image on the internet, it is what's called low resolution. And more specifically, it's probably 72 pixels per inch. Okay? And that will not print nicely. Okay? You ever notice when you print something that you downloaded from the internet, it's all jagged? It's blocky looking, it's not sharp. It's because it's low resolution. Okay? So if you don't know what they mean, let's say they offer you a choice of high resolution or low resolution. If they offer that and you don't understand it, go with the highest one. Okay? One easy example I can think of at the top of my head is the Library of Congress has a number of photo archives on there. And a lot of those images are high resolution. They